Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I just had the perfect bacon. And at the same time, there's a Bitcoin emergency. They had to immediately get Anthony Pompliano onto CNBC because the Bitcoin price has gotten down around close to $60,000. This is a Bitcoin emergency. It's a Bitcoin media emergency. We must start talking good about Bitcoin. We can't let it drop below 60,000, and this is how they roll.
Crypto prices tumbling this morning. Joining us now, Anthony Pompliano, founder and partner of Pomp Investments. When do you look at what's happening with crypto and decide that there needs to be a reason for what's happening? I mean, moves like this back to 61, watching Bitcoin for the last 5-10 years, the moves happen like this all the time. Do you have 3 reasons why Bitcoin has come down from above 70 to where it is now?
I think it's important first to put it in context, right? Bitcoin's up 40% year to date. It's up 100% over the last year. So in terms of volatility, this is pretty expected. What we've seen in previous bull markets is that there's 4, 5, 6 different drawdowns of 30%.
I forgot to mention, quote, former Army intelligence, military intelligence, Anthony Pompliano.
More. We're down about 15% or so. So this is right within kind of the band that you would expect. I think that what occurs is when an asset goes up a lot, people start to take profit. And so what we've seen is this explosive rally to start the year. People naturally take some of that profit. We're also seeing a lot of people doing the basis trade where they're basically going long the spot market and they're shorting futures. And so what's that is doing is it's dampening some of the volatility, which allows for leakage and some selling. And then lastly, I think is we get to the summertime, right? You see this, a lot of people in the public markets will say, invest till May and then go away. And so you start to see some of that as well here, where people are seeing these really explosive moves at the beginning of the year. And then also Q4 tends to be a big kind of quarter for crypto as well. And so Q2 into Q3 tends to go kind of sideways. I think that's just what we're seeing.
We've noted that it has decoupled a little bit from just the risk-on trade and the NASDAQ trade. And, stocks have held up better than Bitcoin, even though the prospect of rate cuts is 5, 4, 3, 2. Now, I don't know where we are. We're at 1 rate cut this year. That's what Bitcoin really needed, was an easier Fed. That's what always juices it.
What I think is really interesting is, a couple of years ago, it was all about Bitcoin and crypto. Now, a lot of people are talking about AI, but I think people are kind of missing that these are actually part of the same trend. We're going into this automated world where AI is going to create enormous amounts of wealth, and Bitcoin is going to protect that wealth. And so when you start to see these technologies coming together, an easy way to see that intersection.
Okay, we've had enough of that. Now, check this out. Here's an interesting clip from that Black Swan Capitalist put out.
This whole digital currency thing, well, people are arguing over that back and forth. They've missed the point that it's the IMF that has created their own coin. Mm-hmm. All right? Yeah. And they are pitching it to replace the dollar as a reserve currency, so that every country will have their own digital currencies. But then for international clearance, it would then have to go back to the IMF coin. This is part of this one world idea of the government.
IMF coin. Very interesting. Then here is, this is another interesting clip. This was put out by Subjective Views. Birth of the Petro-Yuan.
Rich Turin is the author of Cashless, China's Digital Currency Revolution. And he told me that more countries are likely to adopt central bank digital currencies because they make cross-border transactions easier.
It's huge, and I will go as far as to say that this is the birth of what I will call the Petro-Yuan, or like we have the petrodollar, we're now going to have the Petro-Yuan from China. What you see here is a long-term plan that's going to be missed by many, and it's lots of little steps taking place very carefully. So you've got Saudi Arabia joining BRICS Plus this past September of 2023. Now you've got Saudi Arabia joining into the mBridge program, because Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa will all have central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, within the next year, I would say. India and China are obviously already in pilots and going. Russia's in pilot, and I think South Africa is pretty well along to say that within a year they'll be launched as well.
Mm-hmm. So, Rich, this really is a massive change. You talk about the Petro-Yuan. What do you think about the timing of this, given that the Saudi deal with the US to sell oil in dollars, the petrodollar, has lapsed? How big a vote of confidence is this in the yuan?
I don't believe in coincidences. I think that this is a clear message from Saudi Arabia to the United States that we want to do business with the world. And I think it's a strong vote of confidence for doing business with China. And why not? China and Saudi Arabia are big trading partners. We've got China now working on a new natural gas pipeline, a major project worth $1 billion something in Saudi. There's a tremendous amount of business between Saudi Arabia and China. And the fundamental question is, why shouldn't that business be conducted in RMB? Why does it have to be in dollar? When Saudi Arabia is buying products from China and can readily use RMB and wait for it, get a better deal. So the timing is not a coincidence. It's a strong vote in favor for the yuan, and it's a clear indicator that Saudi Arabia has intention to do business with China in yuan, and we can expect more of it in the future. Expect it to be slow at first, but eventually this is going to take off.
Check this out. Defunct Bitcoin exchange Mt. Gox Monday will start to distribute assets stolen from clients in 2014. You know, over there in Japan where Jed McCaleb was supposed to be, but he never was. We've talked about that on this channel. Now, this is from Crypto Bitlord. He says, we're hearing rumors. Now, you got to take some of this with a grain of salt. Sometimes this guy likes to kid around, maybe is one way of saying it. But I've seen this in other places. But he says, we're hearing rumors that Salana is under investigation and a huge case is about to become public. This has been brewing for weeks now and couldn't come at a worse time. If what we heard is true, start praying for Salana. Now, I want to remind everybody of who was on stage with Sam Bankman-Fried. And this is all, remember, Gary Gensler was meeting with Sam Bankman-Fried, not just Gary Gensler, but the White House, the Congress, and CFTC, SEC. Am I missing anyone? They were all having planning sessions with Sam Bankman-Fried, but we have not been allowed to see any of those meeting notes or emails or schedules or anything so far. But what was a huge part of FTX, Salana, all right? What did Sam Bankman-Fried tell all the prisoners they should be buying when they asked him? There was an article written on it not too long ago. Salana. What have I told you 1,000 times over the last few months? I saw it within the week of them starting to do it. It was like the talking points went out. It's time to pump Salana, and all the talking heads, the usual suspects, they all at the same time, CNBC added Salana to their board and put it right above XRP. And it just almost like in a ballet, they all just immediately started doing it. Well, what happened? They pumped the price. Well, could it be, and we know the playbook because of Ethereum. You pump the thing up, and then if any corruption or anything is uncovered, after you've pumped it, everybody's cool. So then you go after it, or you make it look like, the SEC makes it look like they're going after it, at least for a brief period of time, so they can say, see, we went after that too. Well, don't be surprised if this situation is not similar. Then we have Kathy Wood. Everybody's throwing Joe Biden and everybody all overboard. Here's Kathy
Trump or
Wood.
Biden? The word is, so as I've said to my children, so I have 2 girls and a boy, and they're split on this. As I've said to them, look, I am going to vote for the person who's going to do the best job for our economy. I am a voter when it comes to economics. And on that basis, Trump. I mean, So Art Laffer describes the first 3 years of the Trump presidency as the best in U.S. economic history. Not the last one because of COVID, and I would agree.
Wow.
And I went through Reaganomics.
Look what Ryan Selka says, the blue wall of tech has been breached. And then, speaking of Ryan Selkis, tomorrow, which is today, he's going to be on this American Moment. Watch what he says here. You know, he's been on fire lately.
Ryan Selkis, founder and CEO of Masari, crypto data and research company. Just got finished with my friend Saurabh over here for the Moment of Truth podcast. And I think you're going to enjoy the discussion. We have talked all about crypto and its rising force in the American political sphere. In particular, we touched on the impact that it's going to have on this election, how I think crypto should be the red wedge into the blue wall of tech in Silicon Valley. We talked about my Twitter battles with some of the warlords of tech on the blue team, and ultimately why I think it's a smart fight and why the crypto fight is one that people in this town in particular should be paying attention to going into the election. Don't miss it.
All right. So there's that. Then we've got this. Leak reveals crypto's brace for a huge Biden flip ahead of Trump debate that could trigger a Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP price earthquake. Rumors that President Biden could talk about crypto policy during the debate with Trump on Thursday. Well, that depends on whether or not he remembers or whether he's allowed to read the teleprompter. And it also depends on whether or not he's going to crap his pants on stage and have to leave very quickly. So we got all kinds of ifs in there. Now, as we go into DAIXRP.com, I want to show you, I just wanted to make sure you understand the state of our world. We've seen a lot about the petrodollar and all this, and I'm amazed that the United States of America has gotten to this point. I'm going to show you something that if I showed it out here, I would probably get turned off. So it's one of the many things I would get turned off over, and I've been talking about it, but I want to show you another great illustration of what's going on. And this was really the whole purpose of the reason I created DAIXRP. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe. Hit the like button. Tell your friends and family that away we go.